Hello and welcome to the inaugural edition of Six Borough Sports. Today we're going to keep things light, talk about the Nets, the Knicks, and the Heat, do some NBA, and then we're going to talk about some NFL. We're going to talk about Fangio leaving the Dolphins to go to the Eagles, and then finish up with some NFC and AFC Championship predictions. But first, we got to talk about the Nets, man. They are one of the worst teams in the league right now. They're playing like it. Their roster, it's not good. Ben Simmons is absolutely killing them. He is taking up majority of their salary cap space and not producing like it. Bridges is not stepping up. We were hoping he was going to be an all-star this year. It's just not working very well. I am pretty happy with Cam Thomas. Now, I know he doesn't play a lot of defense, but he does score. I could see the Nets kind of trading him to a playoff team, maybe even Spencer Dinwiddie at the deadline. But they got to make some moves. I'm also disappointed with Jacques Vaughn. I thought they were going to play a little more defense this year, like a little bit. But they're just not doing it. And a team with this lack of talent and, salary cap on the bench cannot not play defense. They have to be hustling every day, and they're just not doing it, and that's extremely disappointing. They have a lot of work to do over the offseason. Hopefully they can get out from under this Ben Simmons contract soon. Otherwise, they're going to be stuck in this purgatory of not playing well, not being able to get free agents, and just being a borderline 7 or 8 seed. It's going to be rough. The Knicks, on the other hand, are having a fantastic season. They just beat the Nuggets on Thursday, and they beat them up. They're looking good. They're getting Knicks fans' hopes up. I don't think they're going to win the finals. I don't think they have enough size to do it. And Julius Randle still disappears in the playoffs. So we'll see what the Knicks can do. They are right now in the middle of the pack, upper middle of the pack in the NBA standings. The 5 seed right now. They have 5 straight wins. They are playing really well. But let's see how they do in the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. But again, what is Julius Randle going to do in the playoffs? He shows up in the regular season and then turns into a ghost in the playoffs. So we'll see what happens with that. And then finally with the Heat, picking up Terry Rozier and then proceeding to get blown out by the Celtics. I know Spoelstra takes some time to develop his rotations, so we'll see what happens. But I do like the pickup. They needed more offense, and Terry provides that. And their spot in the standings doesn't really matter because we saw that last year. They went into the playoffs as the last seed and then wreaked havoc and beat a bunch of teams they weren't supposed to because they have the best coach and Jimmy Butler is a menace. So we'll see what happens with that. I do like the Heat because they in the playoffs because again they have the Celtics number. They can beat the Celtics, and the Bucks just picked up Doc Rivers, and that is just a questionable move. I don't think Doc Rivers really improves that team too much. So we'll see what happens. Doc Rivers keeps getting jobs. It's kind of weird. There was a lot of other guys I would have picked over Doc Rivers. He didn't have a great run with the Sixers. They didn't show up in the playoffs. I think he's going to get outcoached by Spoelstra again. What else is new? I like Boston more than I like the Bucks right now, just because it's another year of continuity. They did kind of bring the Heat to the brink. If they didn't have like that epic collapse, I think they would have given the Heat a harder time. So we'll see what happens as the season progresses. I think the Heat are going to continue to play better as Rozier gets adapted to the lineup in Spoelstra's rotations. So just have to wait and see. And then finally, Vic Fangio going to the Eagles. That sucks for 2 reasons for me, because I'm a Giants fan and I root for the Dolphins. This is just bad. Kind of surprising. The Dolphins defense played better throughout the season while the Dolphins offense played worse. And the Dolphins defense played great in that freezing game against Patrick Mahomes. in Kansas City. They held them to field goals. They bended, but they didn't break, as they say. And they held them to field goals, but I've heard that like Javon Holland was happy that Fangio left. But again, I question, when teams and players are like, oh, yeah, that guy was toxic. But I was like, you guys are playing well. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's like, yeah, he might be a jerk, but you got you guys playing pretty well. So, kind of stinks. I have heard rumors that Brandon Staley might be coming to the Fins, which I'm hesitant. I didn't like his head coaching style. But some guys can't be head coaches, and they can only be coordinators. We're looking at Kansas City with Spagnuolo. He didn't have a good run as a head coach, but he was very successful as a defensive coordinator. He's one of the most successful defensive coordinators of all time between his run with the Giants and his run with the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens. We got to check in with the Dolphins again later on when they finally hire their DC, but should be interesting. And finally, here are some of the predictions I have for the AFC Championship. I have the Ravens winning by 2 scores. It's going to be close in the first half, and then the Ravens are going to pull away. They kind of do that. They lull teams to sleep in the first half. They're like, oh, we have a chance, and then Lamar pulls some amazing stuff. And I do see Lamar getting a rushing touchdown and Odell getting a receiving touchdown. So I see the Ravens winning. They're going to the Super Bowl. They're the best team in the league, and it's not even close right now. And then for the NFC Championship, I have the Lions winning and Dan Campbell pulling a trick play or an unexpected play that turns the tide. And the Lions win in a close one. I think the Niners don't like to be in a close game, and Debo is injured, and it's going to affect the game. And also, Brock Purdy hasn't been playing that great lately. So I'm predicting a Lions-Ravens Super Bowl. I like that pick. We'll see what happens. But yeah, and that is it for this week. Tune in next week. We'll be here. We're going to shoot for every Saturday. And we'll see you guys then. Bye-bye.